Let's go.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I'm back with George for your fans forum. Make sure you hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers. You can help us get there. Like and subscribe and get your comments in, get your questions in. As you know, it's your night tonight, so we'll cover as much as we can. All things Aston Villa on and off the pitch. George, great to see you, mate. We were just chatting before we came live how cold it was, and I'm in the man cave. I'm braving it, but you tried it out and then had to bail out and go into the house because it is freezing at the minute.
Hello, mate. Yeah. I've been out there for a little bit watching the first half of Chelsea. Just had a bit of pizza and that out there. I was all right, but I just, when you're just not, you're convincing yourself you're all right. And I was like, nah, do you know what? Just turn it all off. I'm doing loads of money on a couple of heaters out there trying to keep warm. I was like, just turn it all off and go inside. And I've got a bit of central heating in here, and it's a bit more comfy.
Mate, yeah.
So
you've definitely made the wise decision. Definitely made the wise decision. Good evening to you all in the chat. Great to have you in. As I said, get your questions in, get your comments in. We're going to talk about Villa's surge into the top four. They're certainly warming us up right now in terms of Aston Villa's form. The big fixtures ahead, and what do we think Villa can do in this Christmas or in this winter period of games? How far can they go? And then we'll do a bit of a preview of the Europa League game against Young Boys coming up on Thursday. So plenty to get into. And obviously, yes, as I said before, get your questions and comments in. Got a couple in already that we'll cover. Someone who's watching us from Australia. Amazing stuff. So thank you for joining us, and thanks for everyone else joining us in the chat. But George, I don't know what I mean. I know we've done quite a few shows over the last few weeks and covered Villa's sort of rise to form and rise to prominence, certainly in the Premier League. But now we've surged into this top four. How are you feeling at the moment about Villa's all of a sudden they're upsurge in form, and particularly from the start to the season that we had?
Yeah, obviously very pleased, the same as everybody else. We've got ourselves on quite a nice run now, haven't we, after, what was a pretty bad start. But, we've settled down. I remember saying, didn't I, I think we need to calm down a little bit. We're probably being a bit dramatic. I'm not saying I expected us to...
It's not like you, George, to tell people to calm down.
You know me, mate. Try and keep a level head. But yeah, as I say, it's just settled down nicely. We seem to be the players are staying fit, which I keep banging on. That is literally the key to everything at the moment. When we've got a squad like we've got and they're all available, we're a match for anyone. You know what I mean? And we're doing it different ways. We sort of played some great stuff against Bournemouth the other week. Sort of played them off the park. Then you get a game like Sunday at Leeds, which was a real grind. A game that we were at half time. Chances are not many people were fancying us to come back and win that. But we showed some different qualities second half, and had to do a bit of dirty work and got another 3 points. So you just got to keep going one game at a time. It's easy to say after 3 or 4 games, we're getting relegated because we're down near the bottom. Now we're up in the top 4. It doesn't mean we're getting Champions League. You've just got to keep going and see how it all unfolds. But at the moment, we're ticking on pretty nice, Rich.
Absolutely. And just in terms of the fixtures, if I look at just Premier League, a 3-1 victory against Fulham, a 2-1 victory against Burnley, a 2-1 victory against Spurs, 1-0 victory against Man City, the 2-0 defeat to Liverpool, and then the 4-0 victory against Bournemouth and the 2-1 victory against Leeds. As you just said there, kind of different games in terms of the type of victory, and against kind of different tactics in terms of opposition. And I guess, is that kind of pleasing you, as you said there, in terms of the way that we've had to win, or the way that we've won some of these games? Bournemouth controlling the game, dominating. Leeds, we know it was a battle. We didn't really get there in terms of battling in the first half, but turned it around in the second half. Tottenham, that type of away performance that you really like, where we soak up the pressure and then catch them and sucker punch them on the break. Man City, get the early goal and hold them off. Like, so many different ways to win.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's just Unai showing his qualities as a coach there, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's been around the block many, many times, hasn't he? And he knows what he's doing. The players now are sort of lots of players there that have been there a long time. They're learning on the job, aren't they? With learning how to do the Europe. We're in our third European competition in 3 years. We're becoming seasoned professionals, as it were. Most of the players are all at a decent age now where they've played a good number of games. And, we are a good side. And I'm quite happy if we can kind of, we're up in the top four and sort of no one kind of saw that coming, did they? And how I like going under the radar, Rich. I'm quite happy when the attention isn't really on us and we can just slowly go about our work and they can keep talking about Man United and their resurgence and until they couldn't beat 10 men yesterday. They can keep talking about Liverpool falling down the table. I couldn't care less if we get the attention or we don't. But if we can just keep hanging around there and, as I say, keep our players fit, keep getting them wins, mate, and you never know what's going to open up for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess I know you're going to be extremely level-headed and we'll come to some comments in a second, but how far do you think Villa can go with regards to this? What is it? Is it 6 wins out of 7, the last 7 games in the Premier League?
Yeah, 9 and 11 again, same as it was last year. The running.
Right, 9 from 11. Then, is that in all competitions?
I think so, mate. It's just a stat I heard.
Because go ahead, Eagles and Liverpool.
Yeah.
How far do you think we can go? And then, is it likely that it is a situation where we've kind of been here with Villa before? Like, is there? I'm sure there are going to be games that we lose, but is there going to be a situation where we're going to go on another run of like 3 or 4 defeats or whatever, and then do this kind of winning run again? Or is something feeling a little bit different with the way the squad's set up and the experience they've got this season, in your opinion?
I don't know. Anything can happen, can't it? The second we start resting on our laurels and thinking we've sussed it, it could all go tits up again, and we've seen that before. Whereas, we are a bit streaky, aren't we, with our results? We get on a good run and then it goes off for a bit and then we come back. But at the moment, it's going all right, isn't it? We're not doing too bad. As for what we can do, I don't know. I mean, I've said it at the start of the season. I think what surprised me this year is the money that was spent by the Big Six. I expected better from them, like so far. As like Liverpool have shocked me really with 400, 500 million or whatever they've done, and they can't buy a win at the moment. Tottenham done a lot of money, not really doing it. Man United have spent a fortune. I was expecting them lot to really get back to where they were this season, and I was scared that they would all leave us behind. But at the moment, a lot of them are not finding their feet, and that is the advantage we've got. As I said a minute ago, with that team that's been together for a long time, we don't need to bring new people in and forge new relationships and settle new people in. Most of our squad have been there and done it, haven't they? And I think that's sort of paying dividends for us at the moment. So, if they don't get their act together, mate, we can be there, can't we? I remember when we did our season prediction, I did say this then. I said if you can just go on what you've had, use the experience you've had as a team together, and and hope that the big boys can't get their act together, and at the minute they're not. So we've got to capitalise while they're all sort of where they are.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I want to come to some comments as well, and we'll mix in the questions along with the points that we want to talk about. So Michael said, I feel the excitement, but as an old head, you can't run mile 19 before you run mile 9 in this marathon. And Gary said, hi lads, never thought we'd turn that around, and we usually don't. Well, I think that's where some of this character, some of this difference in the team that I'm seeing is starting to come through. Like, they obviously can point to certain situations and say that happened before, or that didn't happen before. But I think particularly the way that we were out-battled in a lot of ways against Leeds, but then we came back in the second half, a couple of tweaks, and then players started to really compete and really enjoy that battle. I think that was pretty important, and that's where I see, like, even that's necessarily without Onana, who's been kind of the leader of that charge of certainly of this season, the last few games. So that was really pleasing to see. But a couple of questions coming in. Jay Rigg says, got a question for you boys. Although we're loving how well Villa are doing, can anyone remember the last well-worked goal scored against us? We always seem to concede from bad play or given away passes. It was something about set pieces where I think it was like the 4th or 5th goal that we've conceded from set pieces. Is that a concern to you? And I did mention quite a few sort of 2-1 aways and 2-1 victories. Is that something that you can't keep going to the well, can you? You can't keep going behind and then coming back. At some point, you've got to make sure you keep the silly mistakes at the other end.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we've been susceptible to set pieces before. This isn't the first time. Martinez looks a bit shaky, like going up for high balls this year, doesn't he? And I think he's got a bit complacent with getting the decision from the ref anytime he goes down. But this time we didn't get it, did we? And it might sort of make him buck his ideas up a little bit. But that's unfortunately we're missing Mings at the minute, aren't we? That was sort of a big strength of his to be heading away the set pieces. But yeah, it's dangerous. We've got Arsenal coming up twice, haven't we, in the next sort of 6-7 weeks. So you don't want to be giving away cheap goals to them or anyone else for that matter. But we're not conceding lots of goals, are we? It's just the ones we are conceding are very untidy, very messy. I mean, that was really scrappy, wasn't it? The goal that Leeds scored. But it is what it is. You can only do your best.
Exactly, and a lot of goals are scored from a mistake, and you could flip it on its other head, on its head as well, and say, look, we've scored some brilliant goals this season, but so many of them have been from outside the box. I think that one that Rodgers scored the other day was kind of almost one of the first ones where we've scored from like one of kind of Villa traditional set moves, ball down the right-hand side, Cash cuts it back to the on-rushing forward who crosses it in. Like, we haven't really scored that many of those type of goals, have we, this season? So it might be that the spaces start to open up for Villa in the box a little bit more because we've been scoring so many goals from outside of the box.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. Defense is like, coaches will jump onto trends, won't they? And at the moment, we're probably surprising teams with the amount of sort of goals from outside the box, and all of a sudden we've become free kick masters, like in the space of a few weeks. And but eventually managers will get onto that and will probably coach against that. But then, as you say, if you start focusing us doing that, then the gaps open up for all other types of goals and moves. So we've got lots of stuff in our locker. We just need to score a few more goals from the strikers, from Watkins and stuff. But no, we can't really complain at the minute the way it's going.
No, absolutely. Manny says, as delighted as he is with our recovery, he still thinks a relative lack of squad depth could hurt. If Cash gets injured, you might have to hope that Garcia will be fit and fresh. I guess in terms of that is a fair comment. I think Bogart's played at right back, hasn't he? He's tried Lindelof there. Lindelof's definitely not a right back. But are certain positions still a concern in terms of squad depth? Midfielders, I think we're pretty well stocked, but centre back as well, is that a little bit of a concern?
Yeah. So you just said it all there, mate. The midfield is literally with luxury galore there. We've got everything we need, but at centre back at the minute, with the Mings being out for however long now, we've only got Lindelof as well, a cover on the right side. So we're missing. If anything happens to Pau Torres, we're screwed. As you say there, Matty Cash only one right back. So yeah, if defense is we're definitely short at, and also up front really. You've got Watkins who can't seem to find that out at the moment, and we've only got Marlon who's he's not really he's smashing it at the moment, but he's not really a like for like replacement for Watkins. I don't think he's not your sort of number 9 target man, is he? Or your striker that's going to lead the line. He's got other qualities. So I'm just thinking if we could be screwed at either end with some injuries. But lucky for us, really, Watkins is pretty durable, isn't he? It's just, it's more the other end I'm worried about. Pau Torres has got a history of getting injuries. Touch wood, not so far this season. But I'd say, if we're going to be doing anything in January, it'd be at the defence and the attack, Yeah,
absolutely. Might as well come to this question now from Kay Grundy, realistically, how many signings do you think we need for a title challenge in the future? I mean, how far in the future do we say? Are we saying with the right signings in January it could be a title challenge, or are we saying for next season?
I don't know. It's mad to think that, isn't it? Life moves too fast for me, Rich.
I know.
We was in trouble not so long ago, apparently.
We were getting relegated a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. As I said, it depends what the other clubs do. If Man City and Liverpool get their act together, don't write off Liverpool yet. They could win 10, 11 games in a row. Man City do it every season. If them teams do that, forget us. It doesn't really matter. But I know I sound like a bit of a miserable sod sometimes, don't I? But I just think you just have to just keep plugging away. We're not a team that's going to do that, but we've just got to be there and capitalise on other teams when they're not doing well. And who knows? I don't know how high we can get, Rich. To be honest. Well, consistency is key, isn't it? What do you reckon we can do? I don't know.
Consistency is real key. I think there's probably there's a few things that are going in our favour at the moment, and the fact is that this is mainly down to the coach as well. But we have an ability at the minute to be able to make effective substitutions to change a game, regardless of the situation that it's in. So, like the other day, we were losing 1-0. We're getting out battled. We're getting, we're getting out fought. But a couple of tweaks and maybe a bit of hairdryer treatment at halftime. It was probably the players more than anything with each other. Was able to kind of get leads on the back foot and then go ahead and win us the game. Fulham, not doing great at halftime, makes the substitutions at halftime to change the game. Bournemouth, we're 2-0 up. It could have been 2-1. All the momentum with Bournemouth if they score that penalty. He makes a couple of changes. We score 2 goals, game over. So he's got the ability at the moment to have the options to make changes to whether it's to see out a game, whether it's to extend our lead, whether it's to change a game if we're behind, whatever it might be, he's got the ability to change it. So that stands you in real good stead for consistency and for staying in games all the time. Then you've got forward players in form, and we're not conceding too many goals as well, which is a good thing. And as we've already highlighted, we're winning games in different ways. If you can keep that sort of consistency and keep the options that he has off the bench, then absolutely you can keep winning games. And if you keep winning games, you're gonna stay at the top end of the league. Now, does he need a couple of more signings? I think yes. Just said centre back. You can't carry on with a Tyrone Mings as a backup who's consistently getting injured now, and Victor Lindelof, who, with all due respect, isn't the caliber of Konsa and Torres. Then you can't operate with just Ollie Watkins up top, especially at the moment. Like, you just can't. If he was banging in goals left, right, and centre, or even looked like he could start doing that, then that's going to be then it would be fair enough. But even then, you probably still need another one. So I still think we are. If there's no other injuries, I'd probably say 2, maybe 3 signings away from a bit of a challenge. But if you get a couple of injuries, then I think we'd struggle a little bit. But it's the way that the league is at the minute. Teams are so inconsistent right now. So if people are talking about the likes of Chelsea or whoever else in a potential challenge for the title, if they get continue to get 2 or 3 good results, then why can't that be Villa? Which is why I was going to go on to the next thing with the sort of the big fixtures coming up, because you take Wolves, Brighton away, Arsenal at home, West Ham away, Man United at home. That's the next 5 games. How do you see those shaping up? Because Wolves at home is going to be a difficult one. We know that. Like, we should win, but we know they're going to be up for it. They didn't have the ideal start. But you think an early goal there, that sort of drops their confidence. Brighton away is always a difficult one. Arsenal at home, that's a massive game. West Ham away, they've had a bit of an upsurge in form, and then Man United at home. You know what you're like with Man United, but those 5 games, I don't know if you're thinking like 10 points, we wouldn't be far off.
No, yeah, you've just got to keep ticking away. Like as I say, I think we will give Wolves a bit of a going over on the weekend. Yeah, they just don't look at it this season. They don't know they've got enough. But we've still got. We can't just go into that complacent and just wait for it to happen. You've got to go and do it. Go and do what we've done to Bournemouth. Go and do that to Wolves. Get that 3 points. Get us, a bit further up. Yeah, but then tough games ahead. As I say, Brighton, we seem to do all right down there, but they beat most. They've got a very good home record like over the last few years. So that's a tough game at any time you want to play them. We mentioned West Ham away there. They don't look great this year, but obviously Nuno's gone in and they look a little bit better now, don't they? Got a good draw at Bournemouth at the weekend. They're picking up. The Arsenal game's going to be tough because they're looking great this year, aren't they? They're scoring loads of goals and they're not conceding none, are they? So that's a real tough one, and we've got them again shortly after.
Multiple different teams out. They can rest players.
Got good depth, same as us, mate.
Yeah,
and I think we've got Chelsea around Christmas as well at Stamford Bridge. At the moment, they're looking like kind of direct rivals. Give or take a place or two. Another tough game, and it's just you've just got to try and not make sure we don't lose 2 or 3 in a row, because if you lose in that at that time of year, all of a sudden, I mean, we've seen it before when we've been neck and neck with Man City. You blink and they're 10 points ahead of you. That's what these big clubs, top clubs, can do in the whatever the fucking term is. I can't even think. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what big clubs do. So we just have to, just keep our heads and keep nicking points. If you can't win it, draw it. But just try and stay in the pack.
Yeah, I agree. It was one of them. This last season, we were in contention, probably without playing too well, up until sort of back end of this month, like back end of November, and then that kind of period, November to February, I think we only won 2 or 3 games, and we were struggling to beat, like Leicester at home, Ipswich, and that was a real tough time. And then we had to go on that run right at the end of the season to even have an opportunity to get into that sort of top 5, and we obviously just missed out on it. But it was pretty much championship winning form that we got in those last 11 games, which is crazy to think about. But we put ourselves in that situation because this period now we didn't get the results that we should have done. But I think the squad is in a better shape there. I think the mentality honestly, I don't know how much you can quantify how important that win was on Sunday. Like, if you're in the dressing room, how important that a 4-0 win against Bournemouth at home is great, right? That's one for the fans, and you go home and you're like, yeah, we battered them. But a 2-1 win at Ellen Road after being 1-0 down at half-time is massive, absolutely massive, because you know exactly what you're going to get at Ellen Road. Like, that's one of the toughest grounds in terms of atmosphere that you can go to. So that's why I'm hoping, and I believe that some of that mentality is slightly shifting now. I guess the next stage of that mentality shifting is beating Manchester United, which Kevin's just put in there. And are you confident that could happen?
Well, that they've improved this year a bit, haven't they? They've sort of not as rubbish as they were last year, but they still don't look particularly good, do they? I didn't see much of the game last night, but I've seen if Everton have gone down to 10 men after like 20 minutes and they're getting beat 1-0, I heard Amorim saying, he was very scathing, wasn't he? Saying that they're still nowhere near what he wants. So on paper, we are a better team than them, and we have been for the last 2 to 3 years. But for some reason, when we play them, we still can't get this hoodoo off our backs, and they keep having our number. I mean, Emery's been at Villa 3 years, and he's only beaten Man United once, and you look at like a Brighton. I think they've beaten Man United like 8 times out of 10 or something. It's madness, but it's just a silly game for us that we can't seem to win. But I think this year, we've actually I'm the world's worst for this, but I think we just got to stop talking about it. Everyone just needs to stop talking about it and stop making it a big deal, because we all know what the crack is. Maybe we've just got to, when Emery came in, he probably wasn't even aware of that record and smashed them 3-1 in his first game. So maybe we've just got to, just stop holding them up on a pedestal, because they don't really deserve to be there. And on it, to be honest, today, with their form the last couple of years or whatever, they've become a bit of a circus. So, I just want to give them a good hiding, mate. But let's hope we can do it this time.
Yeah, 100%. Guys, in the chat, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, help us continue on the road to 10,000 subscribers. Also, massive shout out to Rachel in the chat. Happy birthday to you. I can see everyone wishing you a happy birthday in the chat, and we'll do the same. Massive support of the channel, been with us since day one, I think. So amazing stuff, amazing support on the channel, and happy birthday to you. I think it might have been someone else's birthday in the chat as well. It might have been Richie 67 in there as well. So happy birthday, everyone. Happy birthday to you guys, and thanks for your support as well. Let's get another question in. And it might take us nicely into sort of previewing Thursday's game. But a lot of people talking about, and we can't get away from it, but is it time to give Daniel Marlon a start up top instead of Ollie Watkins? I guess I want to come at it more from the Daniel Marlon perspective rather than the Ollie Watkins perspective, because we've done that so many times. But yeah, is it time we gave a shot to Daniel Marlon, or is it a case of them both playing up top together?
It could well be, mate. He's doing really well, no doubt about it. He is making great impacts off the bench, isn't he? Most times when he comes on, it's superb. He literally come on straight away, didn't he? Sunday, created a goal within a couple of minutes. Done the same go ahead Eagles, same against Bournemouth, I think, wasn't it? These are quick impacts after Watkins has played 60, 70 minutes and not really had much joy. But my only worry is if you're gonna bring Marlon in for Watkins, can Marlon lead the line as such? I mean, I know we were chatting in our group chat the other day. Marlon's got his own qualities: the running in behind, his direct play down the flanks. But I think when you've got someone like Watkins, even when he's not scoring, that occupying defenders, holding it up, just being a general nuisance, it's kind of like the dirty work. And I think when you haven't got that, you will see that it's not going to be so easy for us. Teams will be out. We pen teams in because of Watkins, and I just wonder, with Marlon's up front on his own, only small lad, are we going to be able to play the same way? So I do think that maybe there's a place for both of them, especially in the home games like Wolves. I would play them both up front. Maybe West Ham, but in the tougher games, obviously you can only go one up front because you need to keep your midfield numbered up, don't you? But as a like for like replacement, I'm not sure, but we haven't seen it enough, so maybe it could work. But I think personally, Emery will carry on with Watkins because it's the system we know.
Yeah, Weston said we've not been very good when he started as Marlon, to be honest, and I think that's the point. Like Sai says here, he likes having Marlon right. Rodgers left with the three in midfield, and when Marlon was kind of in that sort of Moussa Diaby position, as we like to call it now, on Sunday, it kind of unleashed a bit of life into Watkins because all of a sudden he had players around him, and then it also allowed Rodgers to play in a bit more of a freer role to come in from that left-hand side. All of a sudden we were sort of bamboozling Leeds with that movement. For that, once we scored that goal, and for sort of 10, 15 minutes after that, we were all over them. And then he went back to kind of the sort of standard formation when he brought Sancho and Barkley on. But yeah, I would like to see, particularly home games, Marlon and Watkins together, like Marlon playing off Watkins a little bit more. Now maybe he needs to, because you know what Marlon's like, isn't he? He's like basically he's all action, and if he sees like a tiny little glimpse of the goal, he's smashing it at the goal. Or if he sees an opportunity to run with it, he's just running with it. He's not like he's just doing the first thing that comes into his head, which is great. But sometimes in that little position, you need to be a bit more cute, don't you, with your movement? That's what Diaby was so good at. Like he'd do a little feint, or he'd play a little flick around the corner and then run off it. So maybe Marlon's got to be a bit more cute in that position to kind of learn to play with a partner up top. But I'd be more inclined to see that than him just replace Watkins. But I do think he deserves his opportunity now to be starting games, and that's I guess the difficulty.
Yeah, no, I fully agree with you. But at the same time, it's working. What's happening at the moment? I mean, we had this situation last year, didn't we? When Duran kept coming on and scoring. Sometimes it's just if it's working, why try and break it? I mean, if Watkins can occupy a defence for an hour, tire him out, maybe not get his just desserts, maybe not get his goal, maybe miss a couple of sitters. But by the time Marlon comes on 60, 70 minutes, that defence then that we're playing against is they've been worked and they're tired. Marlon comes on like a blimmin', like rat up a drain pipe, and he's playing against tired defences and he's exploiting them, isn't he? Same as Duran was. Maybe if you were starting Marlon and they got to grips with him early, then what's your option off the bench later on when things might not be going your way? So we were saying earlier in the season we probably shouldn't be stressing about who's starting games because they've all got this 90-minute game and they've got time to make their impact. Yeah, exactly. If he comes on for half an hour, if he comes on for 20 minutes, if he keeps coming on and scoring goals, then we're winning games. Happy days. Everyone's a winner.
Yeah, and it was a bit different when you could only make one sub, obviously, years and years and years ago. But then even with 3 subs, now you make 5 subs. It's half your outfield team. So
yeah, exactly.
You're very rarely going to change the goalkeeper, are you? So it's half your team that are outfield. So you've got the opportunity to do that. You've got the opportunity to kind of, someone do all the hard work for 60, 65 minutes and then bring an impact player on who's going to make the difference. And like you say, if that's what works, then great. And this is at the moment what we've got with regards to the squad depth. When you've got the likes of Harvey Elliott not even getting a look in the squad, whatever the future holds for Harvey Elliott or not, we don't know. When you've got Amadou Onana, who wasn't quite fit for the bench, but you're still able to bring on the likes of Maatsen, Marlon, Barkley, you name it, whoever, Bogard who came on, you've still got those options to bring on. Then it becomes less and less important, doesn't it? It becomes less and less important who's getting the start because it's about who finishes the game and what situation you're in the game at the time.
Exactly. I mean, the squad at the minute, this is what's winning us games. Unai's management of the squad, while they're all fit, it's a joy, isn't it? And it's lovely to see. And I think every Villa fan's been aware for the last couple of years, we've got a decent bloody squad. But when you're getting decimated with injuries and you're not being able to use them, I mean, I'm convinced we would have won that Conference League a couple of years ago if we didn't have the injuries we did have. I mean, when we went into that Olympiacos game and we were on our arses, it was a real shame that we couldn't put a full side out there. But at the minute, this is like, I know I bang on about wages a lot. We're paying a big wage bill, a massive wage bill. But this is what you get for it. You get when you've got a decent fit squad. This is the quality we've got, and we've got to make the most of it while they're all fit. I'll keep banging on about that because it doesn't happen all season, and at the moment we're having a decent run of it.
Yeah, well, long mate, continue, mate, and let's talk about Thursday night. We'll do a little bit of a preview because we've mentioned the quality of the squad, and we've got a big game on Sunday, obviously against Wolves. But we want to make sure that we are getting this win in terms of Europa League qualification, because we did have that slip up against Go Ahead Eagles. The least you can do is win your home games as well. You got 12 opportunity for 12 points at home, and then you win a couple of away games, and you're in that top 8. We played Young Boys before at their place last season, first game ever in the Champions League as it was at that time, won 3-0.
Yeah.
So I think they're doing pretty well in their own domestic league. I think they're second in their domestic league, but they're not doing great in the Europa League. But do you see this as being a potential tricky one for Villa? And also, do you see us making quite considerable a number of changes, utilising our squad?
Listen, I can't say I know anything about Young Boys this season. I haven't seen nothing. But all I'm looking at, we're 4th in the Premier League and we're going really well. So it shouldn't be about Young Boys. It should be about us. I can imagine there'll be a few changes. I mean, you don't just breeze through this game. But at the moment, in these group games, I'm quite happy for us to just when Unai, you can see the team's conserving energy, and it doesn't have to be. Do you know what? I'm not bothered about how entertaining it is, even if it's 1-0, 2-0, and we're just passing it slowly. Just do the minimum to win, if you know what I mean, and try and not until we get to the nitty gritty of this Europa League, you've just got the Premier League's our real focus, isn't it? You've just got to win these Europa League games at the moment. As you say, win all your home games. I could see a slip up or two. Well, we've already had one slip up away in Holland. There might be one or two more to come. But just get yourself in the right position to have a go after Christmas when you, when we go into the knockout phases, providing we're there. And yeah, as I say, I can see us using a few. Matson will probably come in. He's not really started enough games, has he? You'll probably see Bogard come in.
Yeah.
Maybe Sancho.
Do you see like Lindelof starting with maybe a Torres? Like, it's difficult because he hasn't got Mings, has he? Because you'd think, Mings and Lindelof might be that centre back partnership, but I can definitely see change. Gesson maybe gets a run out.
Yes,
Sancho gets a run
maybe.
out. Bogard.
We're talking about changing. We're talking about changing half the team there with what we've just said.
Yeah,
so I don't know. Do you do that?
He hasn't played Bizot, has he, that much? So I think maybe Martinez still stays in the side.
Bizot played against Feyenoord, didn't he? And that was only a late. I think Martinez pulled up early in that one, didn't he? Before the game.
Martinez played against Maccabi, didn't he? And then I think that was maybe more so because he wanted to get him a bit more confidence after that Liverpool mistake.
Yeah.
That out. I think Rodgers will potentially still start. McGinn will probably still start. Watkins, I think, potentially still starts, but I think he's going to ease Tielemans back in. Barkley's now back in the squad, isn't he? Because of Mings' injury. So
yeah.
But I mean, even there, you've still got some good options, haven't you? I mean, do we see Garcia maybe getting a run out because he's been back in training? Someone's put in the comments there, Lindelof at right back does worry me, so I would rather not see that. But yeah, I do see some changes, but I do agree with you in the sense that once the game's won, once you're in a position where you are controlling possession, it doesn't have to be. I don't think we're going to see.
Doesn't have to be full tilt, does it?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see 4s and 5-0 wins in this competition. We probably could have done that against Maccabi Tel Aviv if we'd have wanted to, but he just didn't want to. He was sort of, look, just keep possession of the ball. If we've got it, they haven't got it, they can't score. And I think that's going to be a similar story. If we can get an early goal, if we can put the game to bed, then I think we'll be fairly comfortable in it. I'd like to see though. I would like to see some of the young lads get a shot. That's that's the only reason why I'd like to see us get a 3-0 or a 4-0 or something. Just so you might see Ben Broggio, or you might see a George Hemmings who was on the bench against Leeds, or a Gmo Aloba. It'd just be nice to get them some game time, because again, you never know when you might need some of the young lads to come through when the going gets tough, or when the season is kind of right at the business end.
Yeah, I feel bad for the young lads because we get kicked out of the League Cup every year, don't we, by round 3, round 4, so they don't really get their games. But Unai doesn't seem to want to use them. I mean, we're just talking there about the lack of centre backs at the minute. Is there no good young defenders there that can come in and sort of get on the bench at the moment? You're thinking, if they can't get in now, how will they? Because as you say, you don't really want to be using Lindelof as a right back at his stage of his career. He's a backup centre back, isn't he? I think, but
exactly.
At the minute he's having to cover both positions. But yeah, it never seems to be the right time for the kids, does it? And I don't know when that time will be, mate. Maybe it won't be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they've got the UEFA Youth League game, so it'll be interesting to see what team is put out in that, to see how many of the young players, because I think you can name 11 players on the bench or 10 players on your bench, can't you, in the Europa League? So it'll be interesting to see that. But I do see some changes. I know Unai doesn't like too many, but we've got Wolves on the Sunday, we've got Brighton on the Wednesday, and then we've got Arsenal on the Saturday.
That's a tough game.
You've got to be thinking. You've got to be thinking ahead, and we've got the squad to utilize. You've got to be thinking ahead. So that's going to be interesting to see. But how do you see kind of the score going then in terms of predictions? What do you fancy for Aston Villa versus Young Boys in the Europa League? Get your thoughts in the chat, people.
Yeah, I think we'd be all right, mate. I think 2-0. As I said, maybe not the most entertaining one, but yeah, just get the job done. Minimum of fuss. keep everyone fit, no silly mistakes, and let it look after itself. But yeah, I don't think we need to run ourselves into full tilt for this one. I'll say let's say Ross Barkley for a goal, and I will go for the main man Marlon at the moment to get another one.
Nice. Sai says 3-0. John says 5-0 Villa. Rod says 1-1 because we don't make things easy. TK says 2-0 functional. Yeah. Stephen says 2-1. So I think pretty much everyone very, very confident, and Rod saying a draw, but I'm pretty confident. I'm going to say a 3-0 Villa win. I think I will go with. It's difficult to think who's going to start, but let's say Evan Gesson will get a goal. Let's say Jadon Sancho will get a goal, and Ollie Watkins will come on and get a goal as well. Is Onana fit? I haven't seen any. No. Haven't seen any press conference from Unai. I think they were monitoring him. He was going to train on the Saturday before they travelled on the Sunday. So if he's trained, then there might have just been a precaution just to rest him. But is it a game that you want to put him in? Maybe you want to give him a few minutes ahead of Wolves on Sunday, possibly. So we'll obviously see if Unai's got injury concerns after Sunday's game. 3-1 says Rich. 2-0 says Kev. Potential banana skin says man with the golden gun, but 2-1 Villa. If we get a pen, who takes it? Says Sai. Marlon.
It's hard, really, isn't it? Because you don't. Yeah, if Marlon's starting, though, isn't it? I don't really know. If the team that started at the moment, who do you reckon does take it? I don't know.
Marlon scored against Tel Aviv, didn't he? So
yeah.
So he took a cracking one. So he's got it at the minute. If he's not on the pitch, Rodgers.
You'd think Rodgers would be taking him, but he doesn't seem too keen, does he? To step up.
No.
I'm trying to think whether he took one in that shootout when we lost to Brentford in the cup. I can't remember.
Who did?
Rodgers. Did Rodgers take one of them penalties? Remember we lost in the League Cup? I can't remember either. But I'm sure I've heard Unai mention that he's like on the list of the penalty takers. So, I don't know. But yeah, it seems to be a bit of a problem for us. We've got to get that sorted out, haven't we?
Absolutely, mate. Manny's got a question. Just going through some of the questions just to finish up as well. Ross Barkley would be a very important role to play. He's the perfect super sub. Would you want to extend his stay by another year if Villa win the Europa League or return to the Champions League or even win the Premier League? Basically, would you extend Ross Barkley's contract? I think we got the option to, haven't we?
Yeah, I think he's safe pair of hands. Saying that, one thing he actually pissed me off the other night. He had a good game when he come on, but did you see? It just took me right back to when he was at Villa the first time, when he was just walking and he's just let the Leeds guy just come steaming past him, and he's not even attempted to make a tackle. And I was like, that's the Barkley we had before, the stroppy Barkley, the one who thought he was too good for us, and I wasn't very happy with that. But
no, there's a couple of little flicks as well, wasn't there? Where
he's getting a bit casual, isn't he? He's getting cheeky.
Yeah.
But no, he's been good. Listen, for what we're paying him, I don't think he's on big money. Experienced player, been there, seen it, done it. Probably good for the dressing room. He calms games down. He can play in about 3 different positions. He's a good player, isn't he? The only negative I would say is he kind of what's the word? Keeping Bogard out a little bit. Will Bogard thrive if Barkley wasn't there? If you know what I mean, he'd be the next one to come on, wouldn't he? Sort of, hinder his development, as it were.
No, I definitely take your point. The only thing I would say is that Bogard's been coming on in that sort of central midfield position, i.e. Tielemans, Onana, Kamara or Bogard, those 4. And Barkley's been coming on more in that sort of number 10 position, like of the 2 number 10s. So he almost has kind of had to change his role because of Bogard playing. Like maybe tomorrow it might be Barkley and Bogard in that sort of number 6 position. I doubt it, but on Thursday. But I think Bogard's done really well to sort of show himself as a bona fide option to play. He's done great. He's done great.
I like him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So glad we kept him.
Yeah, definitely. He's shown that he can play multiple positions. He's got his confidence now. He's taking it past players. He's stepping up in the. He looks like he's physically got stronger as well,
Yeah.
which is really important. So, yeah, fair play to him. Alias 55 says, greetings from Port Kembla, Australia, up the Villa. Will we sell Emmy and Ollie?
What, like when? They say what, January or end of the season?
I guess so.
I don't think you want to be doing it in January. As I said before, the key to us at the minute is everything's settled. Everyone's got that relationship. We're a team that's, I know this silly quote they always say in our journey and all that, but we're quite a way. Our process, as the fashionable word is now, but we're quite way down the line with that compared to a lot of other teams that keep changing managers and signing 10 players each window. Whereas we're a settled side. Come the end of the season, obviously it's not working for Watkins at the minute. Martinez has had his problems in the summer and the back end of last year. Maybe clean break in the summer if we can get buyers for them and they want to go and everything fits. But at the moment, don't upset a happy camp. It's just, why would you?
Yeah, absolutely. David said he'd sell them both, and TK says no. So that's the opinions we love on this show, and it's fans forum. It's your guys' show as well. So that's why we love doing it. Everyone's got the opinions. Everyone's entitled to them. So absolutely, I don't think. I mean, when I did that Villa round table, we talked about if we are to make some signings in January and what the kind of wriggle room is there, I don't know right now. Obviously, nobody really knows right now. There's been a couple of links to, I guess, younger sort of strikers. There's a lad from Real Madrid. I think someone mentioned it in the comments that we've been potentially linked with. But, Gonzalo Garcia, that's it. But in terms of trying to raise funds, who would it be that who would be prepared to listen to offers for, prepared to sell, and it's really difficult to say who would generate the funds and who we would be prepared to sell, because you could make an argument maybe for Ian Matson might generate some funds. You could maybe make an argument for Marlon might generate some funds, but if you're selling Watkins, yes, you can make an argument for selling Watkins, but would he generate enough money for you to go and buy another striker of equal importance or equal or better ability, let's say, who would be able to just fit in with the team and start scoring goals straight away?
That's the chance you take. And would you want to take that risk, Rich?
Exactly. And then the same point goes with the goalkeeper. We all know what Martinez did in the summer and how that sort of transpired. We all know he makes the odd mistake. But you look at the big save he made right at the end of that game on Sunday.
Great save.
You look at the penalty saves. He's almost saved penalties before the players even taken the penalty. That's how important he is to Villa. So, are you going to say, oh, well, we'll sell him to someone else potentially in the Premier League to generate 40 million or 30 million or whatever it is? We'll go with Marco Bizot for the rest of the season, and we'll potentially sign someone else. I just can't see players that are that important to us being able to just be sold. It's not Football Manager anymore, is it? It's not a computer game. You don't just bring someone in who's got great stats and then just he's just going to settle into the team straight away.
No, exactly. And last year or so, our transfer dealings have not been the best, have they? I mean, it can be questioned really the business we've done this summer. You've got Harvey Elliott, who can't even get on the bench. You've got Jadon Sancho earning an absolute fortune, as I say every time I come on here. Both of them earning an absolute fortune, and neither of them are playing. The wiggle room we would have had is been spent on two players that can't get on Sancho's getting 15, 20 minutes a game. For me, I think it's not looking like the great business for me. But saying that, as regard to the strikers, I mean, as I said, I just think just leave it as it is. But you look at Brentford, they get rid of Mbuemo and Wissa. Who's this Tudor guy? He's already on 10 goals by November. So
he was injured. He's had a couple of big injuries, but he's just managed to, really get himself back fit. So yeah, he is, he's doing really well at the minute.
Yeah, it seems like there is strikers out there, but your scouting's got to be bang on, hasn't it? And you've got to, Yeah, I just don't think it's worth the risk for us at the minute. All right, Watkins is not scoring, but we're winning. We're winning, as I said, 6 wins in 7. Doesn't really matter who's scoring the goals.
He's the one. Like for me, I think as I've said before, the time for just having Ollie Watkins as the only option up front, in terms of the only main option up front, has gone. Right, we need someone to compete with him. We need someone to put pressure on him. We need another option. You know, I know we're saying that Daniel Marlin can play up front, or Evan Gesson might be able to play up front, but we need another option. Like we have to. Like we can't keep carrying on in this way. But like you say, it's not that I would just say I'll sell him and then we'll get someone else in, because it just it don't work like that. It just doesn't work.
I'd like to know the hit rates of like the strikers that are brought into the Premier League each summer, and how many make it, and how many sort of like, you know, teams waste their money on. You look at like West Ham the other year signing that Fulkrug. I think they've done a lot of money on him to be the next big hope, and I'm not sure he's scored more than like a handful of goals since he's been there. So there's no guarantees that it's going to work. At least with Ollie, it's not happening this season.
Sesko, I know he's been good, but you know, he comes with a big billing. He's no good.
Hoyland last year the same, couldn't do it.
Yeah. It's difficult. It's difficult, but yeah, there's, like I said, we definitely need another striking option, 100%. But I'd rather see us get someone who is a different profile and who is up and coming and can really push us on. That's for me. That's what I would do. Definitely. George, I think that'll do us with. I think we're continuing our surge into the top 4. I think we're going to review where we are at after these big fixtures, these big 5 fixtures just this side of Christmas, because that will determine again where we are. I think you summed it up well. You know, the old cliches: take each game as it comes. That consistency.
It's boring, but it's true.
I do think that, like I said before, we've got the options in our squad to win, to see out games, to change games, to go further ahead in games, to keep the momentum going in games. And if that continues and we utilize the squad, we've got the best coach in the business for making the changes when they need to be made. I said this I was on with the Loaded Mag before, and now I was just saying, you know, there's so many managers, there's so many times when we've talked about managers who've been with Villa that they don't make changes until the 60th minute or the 65th minute, or they'll react after they've conceded a goal. Emery, half-time, I'll make 2 subs. Half-time, we're 0-0. It's not exactly as I want it. I'll make a change. You make triple substitutions after 50 minutes or something. Like, he doesn't suffer fools. He doesn't care about someone's reputation. He will sub a substitute. Like, he doesn't care. It's all about the result. And when you've got a coach like that who wants it done exactly how he wants it done, sees particular opportunities in games to make certain changes or to capitalize on certain situations, and if he's got the tools in his box to be able to implement it, then I think we're on to a good one.
Yeah, and also, Rich, you know, like you were just saying there about, like, would you generate funds on like a Maatsen or a Marlon? I mean, and I'd said that as well about 4 or 5 weeks ago on here, but I've completely changed my mind on that now, because them players are the ones that are making the impact from the bench, aren't they? They are these game players that are changing the game when something needs changing, like it did on Sunday. They're coming on and doing it, and they're being worth their weight in gold. So I'd rather not sign no one and have them game changers in your squad, rather than selling one of them or whatever to try and upgrade a position that's already starting. I think you carry on as we are.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we have got the Europa League game on Thursday against Young Boys. I'll be there for a watch along, so make sure you tune into that. It is the earlier kickoff of 5:45 as well, so don't get caught out thinking it's an 8 p.m. kickoff. I'll be on live from 5:30. We'll do the instant reaction after that. Then we'll be doing the Wolves preview sometime this week as well. And then we'll be doing a live watch along for the Wolves game. So many shows to come this week. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Happy birthday to you, Rach, and Richie as well in the chat. As I say, we'll be back very, very soon. Thank you for jumping on, George. Thank you for all your comments. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And as always, remember, we'll follow the Villa.